Hello, Aries, and welcome to Indigo Rising Tarot. Thank you so much for joining me today, and I hope you're having a great day. I hope you're getting through the winter okay. I know that I am freezing and ready for spring to be here, so literally counting down the calendar days till we get there. I'm like, how many moons until at least equinox? That seems to warm us up a little, so I hope you're getting through it okay. This will be your weekly reading for January 25th through the 31st, so approaching near the end of January, which is nice. I like that for the wrapping up of winter a little bit more. February can be harsh, so we'll see. But during that time, we do have a first quarter moon that comes in on the 26th. So first quarters are kind of like a little mini full moon to me, where you might feel a little bit impulsive, impatient. Maybe your mind's a little active. It's hard to settle down and get things done. So keep that in mind on the 26th. Then we do move into the waxing gibbous. And of course, that's a little bit more relaxed, a good time for a deeper understanding and outlook, time to act on our intuition and our introspection, planning. And just executing those things that we started during the new moon. So keep those moon energies in mind as we move through the week. This will be an intuitive general reading for the energies that you may or may not encounter, Aries. So, as always, please take what resonates today and leave what doesn't on the table for someone else. And your overall message for this reading is a win-win outcome is forecast. All right, that's always a good thing. Let's see what the Aries Collective has going on for the week. My fun weekly reminder this week is that you keep a spiritual journal. Sometimes we don't recognize the patterns that are evolving in our life when it comes to our spiritual experiences or what we're learning. So, keeping track of those things can be really helpful. Kind of as you look back, you can look back and see patterns and remember things that you learned. A lot of times I'll journal something and look back and think, oh, I was going to add this thing to my life and I forgot to. So, just kind of a good reminder. But that is my fun reminder for you, is that you keep a spiritual journal, and it's just a good tool to have around as you're evolving spiritually. So, all right, let's get right into this reading. Aries for January 25th through the 31st. A win-win outcome is forecast, and we do have some cards, and we will take them that are trying to come out for you. All right, your overall present energy right now is kind of feeling a little bit like you against the world here with the Seven of Wands. So, if it's a win-win outcome, this may be just the part of the start of it, right? It's just you're feeling like you're fighting some sort of uphill battle and no one understands your point of view. You're feeling you're the cheese that stands alone. So, I'm going to say hold your ground a little bit. Let's see where you go with this. Your current situation is that you're kind of looking back with the Nine of Wands here, kind of on where you've been, and maybe that's why you're trying to make some changes. You might be trying to make some improvements, and maybe you're just getting a little bit of pushback from the world, from the people around you. You're wanting to, you're looking back and thinking, oh, I did this thing this way. January is a really big month for, December, January, kind of after the holidays. We're looking for those resolutions to make. And it is a time that we might look back and say, okay, where were we last year? What did I do? And how do I want to make improvements? So, if there's people around you, there's some kind of pushback on that. I'm going to say for now, hold your ground. We'll see what else comes out with these cards. But it looks like, there's a way to do this so that everybody wins, according to your overall message card there. At the root of this situation is that there is something that you are totally done with here with the Ten of Swords. So, yeah, it looks like there's some change that you're wanting to make, some ending that something you're ready to wrap up. And maybe it's just that there's people around you that aren't quite ready to do that. And, I'll use an example. Let's say that if this is a family situation that you may want to, you're looking back and you're thinking, we did X, Y, and Z with our finances last year. I would like to quit doing a certain thing and do another thing. And you're just kind of getting some pushback. Maybe you're trying to clean up how much money is going out the door, and you're thinking, those subscriptions is the word I'm looking. Maybe you've got, like 10 subscriptions to, movie things or delivery things or entertainment type things, television things. I did this last year, and you just kind of go, are we really using that? I'm going to clean that up and stop paying for that. And you kind of might get pushback like, oh, I wanted that one. Just kind of work together, and I'm sure there's a good happy medium. I know in our house, I was like, let's do one subscription, watch everything. We'll get rid of that, do the next one. Because I just feel like It's kind of new for our, this especially my age group, to subscribe to a thing that's month to month to month, and you kind of forget about it, and they can add up. So, and that's just an example, but a good thing to look at. But just an example where you might be getting some pushback from something that you're done doing. Like, we're not doing that habit anymore. In your recent past is the justice card. So, yeah, some sort of truth has come to light here in your recent past. And I think that might be why you're looking back. Again, I'm not even saying that this is about finances. That was just my example there. This could be about so many different things for different areas, right? Just one thing that you want to change that maybe you're just feeling pushback. And this could be something at work, even that you're like, look, we did this thing this way last year, all year. It hasn't really worked out in the long run. Let's make this change. And anytime you make a change, if especially if it affects people around you, if people are, ugh, it's just a pain in the butt. So, but sometimes you just got to push forward and say, look, it's going to be good. It's going to be better if we make this change. What is on your mind this week is the Queen of Swords. So, you're presenting whatever this is in a very, very logical way. But you're also being very understanding about it. So even though there's pushback, you are taking the time to hear other people's points of view, and you're being very logical, but I feel like you do need to stand your ground and just push back a little logically. Make sure that you're making those good logical points that everyone can understand. What is just ahead of you is the Hanged Man this week, which is about having a new perspective. So, you've definitely gotten there. Again, it might be that you're trying to convince other people about this new perspective, and that's okay. You just need to let them know what it is. And again, just explain yourself. Be very clear. Be very concise. I mean, I'm even doing my hand like this Queen of Swords would. She would, lay out the all the different points of, and then all the different points of how it's going to be better and what it's going to improve and what the end outcome might be to end this one thing and the new perspective on it. And your advice position is the Tower. And so this, to me, especially in this position, means that if things fall apart because of this, that's okay. If there is some delay or disruption because of this, that's okay. It's almost like, it's meant to be. You've made this decision. If it doesn't work out right, that's okay. I feel like it's a learning process, and you get to the other side and things are better. So, sometimes, again, the disruption just could be the pushback. It could be, something that causes a delay, and everyone's saying, well, if you hadn't changed this thing, we wouldn't be, you're kind of getting blamed for the delay. But again, if you push through, if you push through those uncomfortable things and the things that cause disruption when you've made a decision, you just kind of like, I'm even like, just think about, you're going to water the garden a different way, and all of a sudden it's just a delay because you're having to walk through the mud when you didn't have to do that last time. And it seems like a bad idea, but it's going to save you water in the end. So, go through those muddy parts and get your feet muddy, and when you get to the other side, greener grass. So it's that kind of thing. It's like you want to make this change, but there are uncomfortable things and things that are kind of a delay. You're learning about things, again, and it is a disruption, but I feel like if you work through all those things, it is going to be better, this decision that you've made on the other side of that. What is beyond your control this week is the Ace of Swords. So, you're going to have that breakthrough moment. And I think, again, it might be on the other side of this tower, of this disruption and this uncomfortable part of it that you have to go through. But that sometimes that's just a part of growth, is that you're doing things that feel a little uncomfortable. You're not good at it at first. It's like learning to ride a bike. When you're little, it's so easy once you do it, but it's that first clunkiness of like, oh, where does my foot go on the pedal? How do I, steer, and how do I stop this thing? So once you get through and learn, what the machinations are of this decision change that you've made, I think you get through. I think there's a lot of clarity in it. I think it will be good on the other side of it. What is your secret desire, and what are you trying to avoid? Is the Star card. So, this is a card about direction and being on course, and just kind of knowing that you're on the right path. And so, is that your secret desire, or are you trying to avoid that? This is about having clarity, just knowing that this is the way to go. Yeah, this could also just be intuitive, that you just know this is the change we need to make. This is the way to go. Again, if everyone else is fighting against you and it seems really difficult, you might start second guessing yourself. But if it is your secret desire to make that change, um, then the star is telling you that you're on course, you're doing the right thing. So that'll be your big question: is it your secret desire is to kind of be on course and feel that, or are you kind of are you fighting that intuition to make the change that needs to be made? And your outcome position is, look at you, victorious at the end of all this. So here is this, look where you started. Everybody was coming after you here with the 7 of Wands, but with the 6, this is about being celebrated and everyone saying, oh, good job, good thing we made that change because these positive things are happening. So I'm not sure what area of life for you, Aries, especially because when I look around, we have 1, 2, 3, 4 major arcana here, which tells me this is kind of a big change for you. And it's not even an indicator. I don't see any cups here, so I don't feel like this is a big emotional change. I do see a lot of swords. It makes me think this is more with logic and passion, and doing the right thing there. It's not very emotional, and I don't see any pentacles on the table either. So this may not even be about, money, which was my example, of course, but it may not be about money or material things. It's about an idea and a better way of doing something, and pushing through the difficult parts of it, right? Pushing through the difficult so that when you get to the end, everybody does. It's a win-win. Everybody sees like, oh, you know what? You were right. We were wrong. It was uncomfortable for a minute. We didn't like it, but you were right. This is going to be so much easier if we make this change. So go ahead and just stand your ground. Really, this is what you need to do this week. What is hidden from you here at the bottom of the deck? Yeah, is look at this 5 of Wands, which is a lot of debate and bickering. That's just hidden from you. It's almost like you're the decision maker. You make this decision and you're not arguing. You're like, this is the way we're doing it. Sorry, move ahead. Again, getting through those difficult parts. But by the end of it, everyone understands where you're coming from. You've explained yourself very well, very logically, clearly, and it does make sense. There's a flow to it. So I hope that makes sense to you, Aries. If you're comfortable sharing, of course, drop me a comment down below. Let me know what kind of changes did you make this week that was a win-win for everyone. All right, let's get you a final word here from the Soul Oracle deck. Final message for Aries. Reevaluate your priorities, which it seems like you did. I feel like that's what this card was, just taking a look at saying, hey, this change needs to be made. I'm looking back on how we did it again, and we're making this change. It was just so logical with this 10, just so much logic that you're like, that's it. We're done. We're making a change. Let's see what you need to do in the way of self-care this week, Aries. Self-care for Aries this week, and the card that you get is action. Baby steps are still steps, and they're better than standing still. Yeah, baby stepping, especially through this tower moment. Again, I feel like some of this is going to be uncomfortable, but you're taking those baby steps. You're pulling everyone along with some logic and trying to explain this new perspective, this new way of doing things. You're taking those baby steps, but I do think you're going to be successful in the end with it. So, Aries, thank you so much for joining me here today. I do hope there was something in this reading that you can take away and use in your life this week in some positive manner. Again, if you're comfortable sharing, drop me a comment down below. Let me know, did this resonate with you? Was there some change that you kind of had to pull everybody else along with? And, was it a win-win at the end? Did you feel better at the end of the week? So let me know about that. Also, if you like my reading style, hitting that like and subscribe button makes me really happy because you will find me next week where you can come back and let's see where your story goes or if there's a completely new energy here for you. So thanks so much, Aries, and I will see you next time. Bye-bye.